Good afternoon, my name is Chef Matt, Culinary Arts Instructor here at the LISD Tech Center. What I'm going to talk to you about today is our knives. Knives are the tool of the trade of a chef. Our students right now are working on their knife skills and safety. I will demonstrate how to cut the vegetables to the specifications that our students are assessed on. Some of the tools that we have here, this is a honing steel. What this does is it maintains the edge on our knife and helps keep our knives sharp. We want a sharp knife. What I have here is an 8-inch German steel chef's knife. This does not require honing because it's forged and it's a cast blade. I have to send that away to a professional to have it sharpened. But what I do have here is a fillet knife or a boning knife, and it bends and contours with the protein or the item that you are working with. This is a 9-inch hollow edge knife. It has the hollow edges so that the product that you are filleting or slicing doesn't stick to the blade. Again, it also bends and contours to whatever it is that you're working with. And then here you have a serrated knife, and then the serrated teeth help slice through items such as breads or vegetables. It also bends and contours to the item that it is you're cutting. So what I'm going to demonstrate for you is how to hone a knife. And our honing steel here, I'm holding the knife in my right hand, which is my dominant hand that I work with. And I'm going to create a 90-degree angle for my knife and then slowly work it into a 22-degree angle. And then I'm just gonna make gentle passes across my steel here. And what you hear is the grooves of the steel are catching the edge of the knife and creating re-honing that edge. And I'm gonna make about 8 passes here. And then you wanna go from the butt of the blade to the tip of the blade. One last one. All right. So then your knife is honed and you're ready to go. Some other things that we'd like to talk about here is knife safety. So when you're holding a knife, you're going to want to put it in your offhand, point down as you're walking around in the kitchen, okay? And then when you're walking around the kitchen and you're walking behind other people, you're gonna wanna make sure that you communicate safely. You're gonna wanna say behind you sharp or knife behind. That way the students or your other colleagues know that you are carrying a sharp blade. And the reason also why you carry it in your offhand pointed down is if you happen to trip, your tendency is to use your dominant hand to catch yourself so that you don't slip and fall. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about is like specific cutting boards. That's what we use to cut our products on. And we have color-coded cutting boards for a reason. Our green cutting boards are meant for produce. What we do is we work on our boards here, we maintain a safe and sanitized surface. And then we use yellow cutting boards for poultry. And that reason is so we do not cross-contaminate our kitchen. We are working exclusively with poultry on yellow boards. So our knife, this again is my 8-inch chef's knife. This is the workhorse of your kitchen. What I tell the students here is to make sure that you have a proper grip on your knife. Grip is important. Grip gives you control of the knife. It helps where you are working, where you're cutting. It maintains control. It's safe. What I tell the students is to make sure the point of their blade, if they're right-handed, the blade points to the top left as they are cutting, so then that way they can see their entire work area. What I do is I pinch the blade and then I grasp with my 3 fingers and I'm ready to go. What I'm going to demonstrate here is how to make a large dice. I'm going to use an onion for the large dice, and what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to remove the outer skin of the onion, so I'm going to cut the top, and then I'm just going to cut it right down the middle. Now I got 1/2 of an onion to work with. And when we make large dice, you can use other vegetables to make large dice, but particularly onions work best because I'll show you what's called the 3-in-1 cutting method. I'm going to peel these outer layers back. Okay. And then you want to remove this other membrane layer here too because it can be slippery and challenging while working with the knife. So I have the onion that I want to work with. And by making large cuts, this is a 3-in-1 technique. I'm going to make the least amount of cuts. least is large. I'm going to want to start by taking the onion and I'm going to press down on it, fingers out. And I'm going to make one pass through it horizontally, okay? And then I'm going to take the onion, and I'm going to make a C with my hand and cup the onion. And then I'm going to make an incision down, but not all the way through. I'm going to make it down and not all the way through again. And there. So I've made my second line of cuts. And then what I'm going to want to do is go over the top of it and make large dice. And then as you can see here, I've created a large dice onion. And now we can use large dice for long cook times. When you have larger items, that's ideal. That's what you want to use. So like stewing, stocks, anything that takes at least over 4 hours is what you're going to want to use a larger dice for. It'll help enhance flavor of your dish. It'll help with the body, the texture, the aroma. And then these right here, these are not disposable. You want to keep these because you can use them for stocks. You can use them in gardening. They help keep pests away. So these actually have value to them as well. So don't just go ahead and get rid of those. What we're working with next is celery. We're going to want to remove the ribs, the outer and the top. We're going to set those aside here. And then what we have here is the rib of the celery. We're going to want to go right down the middle of it. And now we have 2 halves of celery. And with that, we're making a medium dice. So we're just going to want to precisely cut and make dice objects out of your celery. And then you set it forward here. And then that's what we have, our medium dice. Medium dice, again, could be something for short simmered items. You can use it in like sauce making so that the skin of it breaks down, the membranes of it break down, you're extracting that flavor, and then you can blend and puree it and make it into a sauce. Our carrot is a versatile vegetable. We use carrots in quite a bit of products that we make here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the top and the end. And again, you save these, you set these aside, you use these for stocks. I just keep those there so I don't forget about them. But what I'm going to demonstrate for you is a small dice. But in order to achieve a small dice, I need to make a primary cut, which is called a batonnet. A batonnet is 2 inches by 1/4 by 1/4 inch. So what we're doing is we're working a lot with geometry. But I'm going to want to make a 2-inch cut of the largest part of my carrot, so I have more surface area to work with. And with my carrot, then I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to make an intentional cut because this is round, and I'm going to square this carrot. So I'm working against nature's intention here. This is round, I want to make it square. So I'm going to make my first cut, and then I'm going to roll it over. And now see, it doesn't roll over on me. And then I can make my second cut, and my third, and now my fourth. And these all right here, we can save these again for our stock items right here. Now what I have is a squared item, okay? And what I'm looking to do is I'm going to make a plank. A 2-inch plank by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. And what I want to do is I call it committing to the cut. So I'm going to line up, I'm going to watch my knife from where my finger is holding the edge by the bolster all the way to the tip, and I'm going to slice. And now I've created my plank. And in order for me to now go into my next cut, I'm going to make strips, which is called batonnet in French cooking. And I should get roughly 3 to 4 batonets out of this plank of carrot. And there I have batonnet. And from batonnet, we're going to take this stick and we are going to make small dice. And small dice is what I call soup cuts, because they all look nice, even, and consistent, and they're cubed. And so small dice are 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. And so we have nice, even, consistent cuts. And then my next is a julienne. Julienne is what we call a matchstick cut. So what I'm going to want to do is, again, commit to the cut, but the julienne is 1/8 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch by 2. And so I've lined it up, and then I slice. And now I've created my plank. And I'm just going to make matchstick cuts out of my carrot. And you can see with my offhand, I'm holding my product in place so it's safe and stable, and my knife does the work for me. And what I have here is what we call a julienne or a matchstick cut. And then from the julienne cut, I'm just going to create a bundle here and then dice into brunoise. Brunoise is used primarily for garnishing because the pieces are small. They don't necessarily have to be cooked in order to be tenderized. You can use a variety of vegetables in brunoise, peppers, carrots. Those just come to mind offhand, but they are small, uniform, consistent cuts. And that is your brunoise. So our next cut we're going to talk about here is an oblique. An oblique is just an offhand cut. What we can use that for is something like we're simmering or we're stewing, we're braising, large cuts of meat like a pork roast or a beef roast. It's a decorative cut. It's something that just showcases some skill, showcases some utilization of the product. What I have here is my carrot. And what we're going to do is I'm going to point the blade of the knife to 90 degrees from my board, and I'm just going to make a slice. And by doing that, I've created an edge, and then I'm going to roll the carrot over, and I'm going to find the middle of that carrot. I'm going to cut, and now I'm making an oblique cut. So then I'm going to gently roll it over and make an oblique. And every time I'm rolling it over, the cut gets bigger, which enables longer cook times for the larger cut. And so what you have here is an oblique. And then on the other hand too, another large cut is what they call a rondelle, which is the round part of the carrot or parsnip or any other vegetable that has a round feature to it. And what we're going to do is we're going to just make disc by 1/4 inch disc of the carrot. And this could be something that you're just trying to make use of your product, your carrot here, in a soup. I call them grandma cuts. And also another thing that I've learned about carrots and how they're intended for nature is that it looks like the pupil and iris of your eye, and carrots are high in beta carotene, which benefits your eyesight. So that's something that you can think about here when you're cutting your carrot here. But what we have is a rondelle and then obliques. And then the next cut we have, I'm going to use celery. We are looking for what's called a bias or a diagonal cut, and then in that cut we can use it. It's more or less used for like stir fries and Asian cooking, but what we're going to do again is we're going to take our knife. I'm going to put the celery on the flat end of the cutting board so it doesn't roll over on me and it's secure in place. My knife, it's going to point to the upper left-hand corner of my cutting board, and I'm just going to make general passes with my knife, and I'm cutting against the grain. You can also do this like with a cooked steak, so that you're showcasing more surface area of the protein that it is that you've just cooked. But I'm using celery right here. Again, we use it for like stir fry, Asian cooking. It's something that showcases more of like the center of the item that it is. Technique, skill, that's part of what cutting on the bias is for you here. My next cut I'm going to demonstrate for you is called chiffonade, and it's how you can utilize like a leafy vegetable or an herb, particularly like basil. I have spinach. What this does is you can utilize it for a garnish on soups, pizza, some pasta dishes. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your spinach or your basil, and then you're going to want to roll toward the stem and roll over and create like a cigar shape. I'm going to hold it down with my pointer finger on my offhand. I'm going to discard some of those odd-ended pieces, and then I'm just going to make slicing right into my chiffonade of my spinach. And what it should resemble is thin ribbons. It looks like grass, but what the purpose of it is it's meant to sprinkle this on like your pizza or your soup. It's a good use of a vegetable. The sharper the knife, the better, because then it won't bruise the item that it is you're cutting. And it's just making good use of a product that you have lying around, whether it's in your garden, in your pantry, in your refrigerator. So this is your chiffonade cut. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our demonstration. Check us out at the Culinary Arts Center. My name is Chef Matt. Feel free to ask, and I hope you enjoyed your time. Thank you very much.